Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Strongman Winner Circle podcast, where losers go home and winners take home the prom king or queen to Sunday night dinner with the family. A little modified that from Anthony's intro from last week. Right now, Anthony is doing a little bit of traveling, but he'll join us in future podcasts. So today I'm solo, but today we have a special guest. We have Jiri Tkadlčík of the Czech Republic. He's a terrific 105 kilo athlete that I've known since 2015 from our first contest. We competed a handful of times, and he's coming on to do his first English podcast ever, and of course join us. So he's a little nervous, but he's going to do great. But if you don't know Jiri, he's had for the most part many great accomplishments, and of course is no stranger when it comes to winning. In 2018, he was Ultimate Strongman's world champion. He's won Europe's Strongest Man 3 times. He's held the world deadlift record at 105 kilo at one time, which was 406 kilos or 893.2 pounds. So that's quite the pull. He's won multiple international Arnold contests, and more recently he took second at the Strongman Champion League World Strongest Man 105 kilo. So overall, Jiri is no stranger to the top of the podium. He's a great guest for today's show. And besides just strongman, he's really he's been in movies. He's been on labels of beer bottles and supplement products. So he's one of Czech Republic's best and brightest. But in terms of before we have him on, so he's hopping on shortly. Of course, I want to talk about some items, and of course, kind of today's, I would say, kind of today's theme. And of course, we had a discussion last week with Anthony. But to kind of today's theme, I would say on winning would be a little more in terms of like perseverance, right? How many individuals or strongman, at least starting the year, will set out a lot of goals that they want to accomplish. But we'll struggle to kind of keep sight of those goals because different obstacles, different curveballs, things coming out of left field. I know a lot of baseball references, but to get really thrown in the way. But the true measure of like any winner or champion is able to take on those challenges or adversities and keep moving forward. So the goal, and even there's great motivational quotes, but they all kind of talk about just like taking all those punches, taking all those obstacles, but just keep moving forward, keep striving for those goals. So my own kind of personal kind of anecdotal experience that I would like to share, and it's kind of relevant just because in 1 week I'll be competing at the official Strongman Games, World Strongest Man 105 kilo, which will be my 4th time competing in that sense. So of course, official Strongman Games / Giants Live, of course, is kind of like the main host, but of course that's coming up next week. And I've had kind of quite the, of course, kind of roller coaster when it comes to the kind of these contests. And of course, World Strongest Man is, of course, a great title and something that everybody wants to, of course, achieve that. Of course, all serious competitors, but it's something that, again, some people will put all their marbles in, they'll put a lot of work into, but it doesn't always go kind of your way. So kind of a little bit of kind of like my little personal history. So my first time in that, I actually competed at World Strongest Man 105 kilo was actually in 2016 when they held it in Belfast. I ended up taking 6th that year. Sean DeMarinis took 2nd. I took 6th. I actually edged out Rob Kearney by a point, where he ended up taking 7th and Johnny took 8th. That was Rob's wasn't his best day, and probably one of the reasons why he decided to make the move to heavyweight. But overall, that was my first international show, or first. It wasn't not an international show, but first show I actually traveled overseas to compete. So that was kind of a great experience, but it gave me another kind of itch to continue competing overseas whenever I get the opportunity. The following year, so that year was official. In 2016 was like official Strongman Giants Live. They were kind of together, and of course, all the 100. We had our own solo show in 2016, and in 2017 we all moved. Of course, the show moved to Raleigh, North Carolina for the official Strongman Games. but of course competing with all the different weight classes and all. So that year, actually, I took second, which was my great first podium. And that was, of course, kind of very exciting. And I thought I was at the top of the world, top of the 105 kilo scene. But I probably couldn't have been any more wrong. The following year, I ended up tying for 15th in 2018. And that was a big blow to me just because, of course, I was in a trajectory. I was like, I took sixth, took second, and then got to the point where I thought first place was my time to win the actual title. But I actually took not only a step back, but a huge step back, or a leap step back, I should say. But it took me a little bit to kind of really kind of break down what happened and why I didn't end up taking 15th when I did so good the year before. And then when I kind of stood back and realized my performance, I probably did like 5 or 6 things wrong going into that prep. And even that day, I think my diet was awful. I thought I could cut from a heavier weight and be successful, which I ended up being very wrong. I think I cut more than like 12 pounds in a single day, and I should have broken that up into a couple of days. So of course, diet was awful, cut was awful. I think I was undertrained on certain events. Sandbag technique was god awful. I think I ended up coming second to last in that event. So that was a huge wake up call for me. And then there's more, but I'm not going to kind of continue on that sob story. But overall, after kind of getting a taste for the top, I think, especially coming in second place in 2017, I grew very kind of complacent and didn't think I needed to work as hard going forward as I thought, since I was already on top. Of course, the following year, in 2018, I started making funny videos online and wasn't really focused on like what's important when it comes to, of course, to come to strongman and strongman training. Again, if you want to be the best, you got to outwork your competition, and you got to, of course, beat yourself in training and, of course, in life. So that's something that I lost sight in 2018 and kind of reeled back in. 2019, of course, I was taking a lot of those items that I did so poorly on and kind of rebuilding on them. I was signed up for official strongman games in 2019, and I thought maybe that would be a good time to hopefully get back into the scene and see if I can prove myself to be on the top. But I was battling with like a nagging hip flexor injury that I thought would only get worse if I actually competed. So in the long run, I decided to kind of drop out. So of course, in 2020, there was no show due to COVID and the lockdown. So, of course, in 1 week will be the 2021 show. So 3 years since I actually competed on the official strongman scene. I'm nervous since my last showing was really awful, but I persevered through a lot. And I'm ready to kind of redeem myself and show why I deserve to be on the top of the podium. So I'm very excited for that. And of course, that's coming up really soon. And then I wanted to talk about kind of, again, going on some of the themes when we talk about kind of winning and of course, having that championship mindset. But in this week's edition of what grinds my gears is that I see a lot of individuals, especially kind of young athletes, they will generally kind of count their chickens before they hatch. So they'll say they hit maybe, let's just say, we'll use an example of an individual, like let's say someone that deadlifted 650 pounds, and they're very excited about that new PR. And they said, oh, 800 is going to be right around the corner. I'm going to hit this by next year. And a lot of times when you put yourself out there, especially if you put it online, it's one thing to say in person or one thing to write in your course on your goal sheet or something personal and something that you have at home. But when you put it out online, you're really attaching kind of your ego to it. And that can be quite the, I would say either mental edge or not mental edge, but it can really mess with you mentally if you don't get to that. And more often than not, people that put out a certain number, they're going to hit this certain number, really don't hit that number. I even like personally in 2013, I hit a 715 deadlift, and I thought 800 was in it the next year. And of course, I didn't put it out there, but I knew it was going to be harder to get the next 85 pounds compared to getting up to 715. So for the most part, I didn't get a PR or a deadlift PR until 8 years later, just about. So I think, again, back to I was mentioning, sometimes that time frame can be much longer, and then that can be pretty strenuous. Again, maybe 0.5% of people that say they're going to be able to hit that are able to do it. The other 99.5% generally don't hit those numbers. So again, just based off of what grinds my gears, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Be humble, work towards the goals. And when that opportunity comes, make sure you nail those PRs, but don't put yourself out there that you have to attach yourself to ego and get off plan just to hit a number, just to hit a number. But Jiri's going to be hopping on very shortly. So of course we'll tune back in a moment. But of course, I want to thank my sponsors going forward. So of course, Total Performance Sports, Tsunami Bar, Strength League Collective, and SBD Apparel. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. So part 2 with Jiri Tkadlčík. So Jiri, thank you for coming on and of course speaking with us today. I think what's great about international competitors, generally they speak more than one language compared to most Americans. But Jiri, of course, has a native tongue in Czech, also speaks Russian, but also has a pretty interesting story how he originally learned English. So I'll let you take it away, Jiri.
Yeah, okay. So hello guys, hello to US, hello to all the world. From Czech Republic, from Jiri Tkadlčík, and first thing what I want to say is that my English it's not so good. I'm not satisfied with this, and I start learning English in elementary school, but I was not good student, and now it's my biggest things or biggest learning progress is in the competition with Nicholas, yeah, for example. So I learning English in the strongman competition.
All right, excellent. But Jiri, in terms of strongman, now how did you originally get started? I know you had a powerlifting background, but how did you get started in the sport of strongman?
Yeah, I started I don't know, 11 or 10 years ago, originally with powerlifting, and then I started with strongman. It's 9, maybe 10 years ago I started with strongman, so it's a long time.
Wow. Now overall, how many to this point? So of course 10 11 years worth of competing. Now how many competitions have you done?
Yeah, a lot of, yeah. I have in this time I have 170 competition.
Wow.
But it's powerlifting, strongman, crosslifting. So I mean in strength sports, yeah. But I speak with Zydrunas Savickas, and Zydrunas said me it's nothing. I have 400. So
yeah,
a lot works.
Well, I think I was listening to Lawrence Charlie the other day, and he said that Savickas not only has done, of course, a number of international competitions, but he's won 73 international competitions, which is a great number. And that's even twice as many competitions I've competed in the weightlifting and strongman realm. So that is, of course, it's a great number. But yeah, I would say Zydrunas, one of those competitors that can compete all year round. But that's also, I think, kind of one of the things that I think is great about some of the top level athletes is that they're the ones that compete the most, not necessarily the ones that are cherry picking contests, but the ones that do compete the most.
Yes, last 3 years I compete only 7 or 8 competition per year because I'm older and everything is suffering much more than I was younger. So if I was younger, I do it for 25, 27 competition per year, but now it's
wow, yeah. Even 7 or 8 competitions is a great year. I think that's even rivals some of the heavyweights. I mean, some of the pro heavyweights. So Jiri, tell us some about your best lifts in training or contest. I know you're a great deadlifter, but what also do you think are your best events in strongman?
Okay, good. I like all events, but something is better and something is worse for me. The best lift in deadlift is 406 in equipment. Yeah, so it was world record 2 years ago. And then it's I'm good in dumbbell. It's 122 kgs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. And yoke, for example, 515 kilograms for 15 meters. It's without dropping. It was really hard. And I don't know what is good. Log lift, for example, 175 kgs. But the weakness is short fingers, so I don't have good numbers on the farmer's walk or timber carry, for example, and many others. So I'm better deadlifter than farmer's walker.
Farmers walk. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Sometimes you need like long hands. Like Mark Felix has, of course, super long hands, and he's of course a grip master. So I think it does.
Yes.
Does play
somewhere I read that Mark Felix have this measuring 26 centimeters. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, I have 18 maybe. So
18.
It's 10
26 centimeters. I would say that's almost close. Actually, I need to convert that into inches for our American viewers. But of course, some of the things that you mentioned before, and of course, just for our listeners. So of course, when he says equipped deadlift, that means like in a suit or like a single ply. Straps. And then on the yoke, of course, 505 kilos. So over
515.
515. Yeah. Wow. So that's easy over 1,100 pounds, which is a huge, almost rivals weights that you see on the Arnold Classic stage. But that's for a 105 kilo athlete. So again, very super impressive. Now, since you did so many competitions when you were, of course, young, starting out. I know, of course, you're not competing as much as you like, but again, that's what happens when you get older. Yes. But do you think competing often gives you an advantage over other competitors?
Yes, I think that is a big advantage because every competition, what you do, you have some experiences. Yeah, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but still you have experiences. And for example, in the Czech Republic, if I compete with the local guys, I have much more experiences than the second one. So it's my big advantage. I'm clever competitor, like I say. Yeah.
Now in the Czech, are you generally the most experienced individual when you're competing against some of the other athletes within your country?
I'm still number one in Czech Republic, yeah, but in the Czech Republic it's a growing tendency. Yeah, so we have lots of very, very good guys, and in the future will be everything very interesting. Yeah, so for five years, I think that I will be number one, and then go to the retirement, and young guys will be on the top.
All right, excellent. And then for some of you listeners, so of course, a lot of the people that are listening in are, of course, a lot of them are 105 kilo athletes, and some of that can relate to. So, of course, Jiri is one of the very few people that beat Sean DeMarinis, 4-time America's Strongest Man in his prime. So, of course, that's a great accomplishment in its own feat. I know he came over back in 2018, but yes. The only time I ever beat Sean DeMarinis, he blew out his quad and his knee exploded. So that's kind of, and again, that's kind of a half one. Again, it's like really the preparation.
Sean DeMarinis is a legend in the US, yeah.
Oh yeah, so he's especially in the 105 kilo scene, because he went in and of course won America's Strongest Man, of course 3 years in a row. Of course, blew out his knee and then came back and won it. So that was quite the accomplishment. But then, of course, he had a good run back in like 2016. He took second to that of Marcin when we were all in Belfast together. And then he's a very other notable accomplishments. He's still the only individual in America that has log pressed 400 pounds or like 182 kilos and 800 pounds or 318 kilos in a single contest. So he did that in the same contest, which is I think still something that yet to beat. So he did that back in 2016. So again, he's a great athlete, but he doesn't lose often. So again, that's of course all the kudos to you in that sense. So even of course either nowadays or currently, or even a few years ago when you were competing more often, what would you do? How would you structure your training to support competing a lot?
It's a hard question, very hard question. I have some programming, but everything is in my head. Yeah, no, like we say, like a programming on the coach. Yeah, I have, for example, I have a competition. Yeah, in September, and in the competition I have five exercises. Yeah. Squat, deadlift, many others, all the events what you can imagine. Yeah, and then I do it in my head, some training program for this. Yeah, it's very simple for me, but if I tell this information to and other people, everybody say Jiri must be crazy because he trained every day. Yeah, he trained every day, and every day is hard and harder and harder. Yeah, so no, I have my training program in my head, and I really train every day, almost every day. Sometimes I have a rest, but I train, for example, in the Monday I have heavy squats and deadlifts, and in the Tuesday I have some speed. Yeah, then in the Wednesday some stamina and something like that. Not like you, Nick. You train. You have a strict training program. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's yes, so it's a little bit different, but this my programming it works for me. Yeah, but it's very hard for regeneration. Yeah, and I can afford it because strongman it's my job. Yeah, I'm a professional sportsman here in Czech Republic. I have some money from sponsors, so it's my focus on this.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was telling in the intro, of course, when I was doing my monologue, I was mentioning that you're one of the few strongmen that's been on the cover of beer bottles and beer cans.
Yes.
And of course that was very cool. And also I was mentioning that you've been in a few movies as well. If you want to talk about that.
Yes, but like a small actor, I'm a small actor, so not big actor.
Oh well, that's probably that's more than most, I would say. But I bet that was of course a great experience. So overall, I know of course we competed together in Murmansk, but overall, how many competitions did you do this year, and how did you feel about this year competing, and do you have any more lined up for this year?
Yes, this year I have four competitions. Yeah, my last competition was in Finland. It was SCL World Championships. I was on the second place. Who beat me? Mikko Anala beat me. He's really strong Finnish guys, but I did a lot of mistake in the competition. So I was second, and then after 1 week after this competition, I have a back injury. So now I'm resting, and I hope so that next year I will be in good shape, and I will go to Clash of Coast.
All right, excellent. So is that your goal, to come to the Clash on the Coast in South Carolina?
Yes. I really want to. Yeah. Next week will be
the qualifier.
Yeah, qualifier. Yeah, qualifier. Thanks. But I'm not in the good shape now because I have a back injury. So maybe I take wild card from Anthony. So who knows?
Okay. All right. Yeah, and of course, yeah. Well, again, hopefully it kind of all works out, but it's it's definitely a big show, and we do need more kind of international presence. And
yes.
And I think that would be, and of course, it's a very neat show in terms of how it's structured, and very similar to World with the heats and going into the finals.
Yeah, so it's a really good job from Anthony. Yeah, because the competition looks awesome. I saw some videos from Clash of Coast this year, and was really nice.
Now, what did you think of the events? They're generally probably a little different than you see that in Europe and, of course, around you. But what do you think of the events that was hosted? So, of course, a lot of like max lifts, the keg throws, the weird object medleys. What do you think about those type of events?
Yeah, I think that it's the best way for 105. Yeah, because we need some maximal lift, for example, deadlift and log lifts, and then some throwing power. Or is it a good word? Tossing.
Yeah, the keg toss. Yes.
Yeah, keg toss. Yeah, tossing power. Yeah, and then I love it the medley because I think that I have a good stamina, and if you have a medley, it's very hard for strongmen. Yeah, because for example, pressing medley, you have log lift, axle, block, and dumbbell, and if you want to do it all the medley, you have to be very good technically, and you have to have good power. So medley, I think it's a very good and very attractive for people.
All right, excellent. I wanted to go back to you were talking about Strongman Champions League. So was that leading up to that contest? Was that a good prep for you? In terms, was it good preparations and training leading up to it, or did you miss a couple items heading into it?
Preparation was good. Was good. It was average. I have problem with shoulders and all my preparation, so I can do it a lot of heavy presses with log lifts and axles. So it was hard for me, but preparation was good. I have better stamina than next year, and in SCL is not for maximal power, yeah, but it's much more for stamina. So yeah, I'm satisfied. Second place is good. Yes, I want to be first, but second is still good. Yeah.
Now, was it close between first and second?
I think 3 points. So it's not close. Yeah, Miko was really better. So yeah, it's true.
So where could you made up more points?
Yeah, I did a lot of mistake. For example, in sack tossing. Yeah, I'm really good for this discipline, but I was really nervous, and I toss only four sandbags, and last one I did a lot of mistakes. So this is one of the biggest mistakes for me. And then log lift. It's one of my favorite discipline, but the shoulders limitate me, so I lift only 140 and 150. I cannot. So
all right, so you're right again. Of course, being a little more healthy, that we've been right there, but again, it's just part of the game. Yeah. Now the gentleman that won, he's Mikos. What's the gentleman that won?
Mikos Anala. Yeah.
Mikos. All right, yeah, because I'm competing against them at in 1 week in Daytona Beach at the official Strongman Games.
Yes.
Now he seems like he doesn't seem like he has a large following or a big social media presence, but is he a pretty tough competitor?
Yeah, really tough. Yeah, because it's from Finland. Yeah, in Finland, everybody are tough, I think. Yeah, because it's a very hard lift in Scandinavia, in the north. Yeah? So everybody is tough in Finland.
Finland, all right, excellent. Well, I'm excited to compete against them. Now, and of course, in terms of, and of course, this is when we talk about more contests. I know a lot of times, not all contests kind of go your way, or sometimes you don't win. But what was your best contest that you had that you didn't win, and why was it your best contest?
If I didn't win, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was like you think it was a great contest for you, but you just happened not to win the contest.
Yes. Sure. It was Finland this year, Murmansk. Yeah, with you, it was really good competition in Russia. In Columbus, in Arnold Classic, for 5 years ago. Yeah, I lost with Kevin Fairs. Kevin Fairs was first, and I lost second in the final. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think this free competitions.
All right. Now, why were they your best competition that you didn't win? It was a lot of fun? Did you hit a lot of personal bests?
Yes. I don't know what was the one this year in Lithuania. Yeah. Zidrunas give me wild card, and I was the last.
Oh, cool.
I was the last, and what it was for me was one of the best competition. Yeah, because I finally meet Zidrunas Savickas, and I have a competition against Ivar Šmakleutis and many other strong Lithuania or Latvian strongmen. So it was really big fun and good experience for me in open.
Excellent. Yeah. So you kind of touched upon it. So was it 2016 when you competed against Kevin Ferris, right? I think it was Kevin Ferris. You came second, and then I think I want to say like Chris Burke came fourth. I forget who took third. Did Marcin take third that year?
I think that this year I compete with Kevin was to 17.
Oh, 17. Gotcha.
17. Yeah.
So Kevin is no what we like to say, no slouch around here. He's definitely a tough competitor, and he's making waves in the heavyweights.
He's really good now. Yeah.
But
much bigger than I remember him.
Oh yeah. He's in the 280s or 280 pounds. We're close to 130 kilos now. So he's huge for the most part. So kind of going a little bit in terms of like the, of course, kind of like the motto of the podcast. So talking about what it takes to beat a winner. In your own words, Jiri, how would you describe a champion or a winner, and what traits does that person need to have in order to be successul?
Okay, it will be hard in English. Okay, so
of course, do your best.
Yeah. Thanks. The winner or champion is the people who do it what he loves. He do it every time with all his power, with passion.
Excellent. Now we'll do the flip side. Like how would you characterize a loser in the sport?
Loser in the sport, it's simple, because in Czech Republic we have a lot of loser strongmen. I think it was joke. It was joke. Mm-hmm. So I think the loser is for me. It's a people who, for example, is the second in the world championship, and he's screaming and say, no, it's not true. I'm the best. I'm the better than him, and he's screaming. He's not real good, and his failure, he take it for another guys. Yeah, understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. Yeah, there's sometimes they're the loudest, but they never really perform when it comes to competition day. And of course, that makes a lot of sense. But of course, going back to and of course, kind of one thing I wanted to mention. So of course, going back to that, of course, the Russia trip to Murmansk, of course, that was a lot of fun. But one thing for me, coming from the US, of course, it was a lot of traveling. But do you think that contest was there was a lot of like unknowns, and also some hardships when it comes to traveling to the Arctic Circle, like the bumpy rides? Do you think that had an impact on performances, or that's not something you just that everybody has to deal with? So my question is, do you felt like that was a hard trip to compete for?
Yeah, it was hard for me, because it was the worst COVID situation in this year, and Russia have to invite you, from the Ministry of Sport. So it was very hard to give him some in your passport. It was hard, and then it's a little bit closer for me than for you, but it's still, I don't know, 3,000 kilometers far from me. So it was really hard, and I go from the Czech Republic, and here was something like spring, yeah, 17 degrees, and we fly to Murmansk, and in Murmansk was 26. Yeah, I said, fuck, it's Arctic here, must be very cold, and in Murmansk was really hot. And then we go by bus, I don't know, 100 kilometers maybe, and for 100 kilometers was only 4 degrees, so it was really cold. It was big climatic changes. Yeah, so it was hard for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that, of course, me and Johnny, of course, kind of talked about. It was just a challenge, and not only mentally but physically. So it was really one of those contests where something that you can't really prepare for at home. You just have to have other relatable experiences, and maybe the next time we travel to Murmansk, we'll be more ready. Because it sounds like Leon's going to have another Strongman World Cup Championship in 2022. Of course, I was talking to some of the other Russians when they're not giving me shit about my axle clean touching my belt. We'll talk about some of the upcoming contests, and it sounds like there could be another contest in Murmansk. Personally, I would like to go somewhere. I would like to maybe travel somewhere else in Russia, like do a contest near Moscow or St. Petersburg, potentially like a Siberia. But Murmansk was very cool. Of course, they're very hospitable. They were, of course, a very great hosts over there. Of course, a lot of great food. But I really hope that of course, it's depending on where the competition is.
Maybe somewhere to the south in the Russia, Sochi, it must be very beautiful. Mm-hmm. I prefer warm too. So Murmansk, okay, 1 time, 2 times, but it's over.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe it won't be in Teribeka where the actual site was, where we traveled 100 kilometers north to go compete, but maybe it will be somewhere in the stadium or in the city, which could be pretty cool as well. So for you, I know, so right now you're, of course, focusing on resting up and kind of fixing of course your back and some of the other injuries that you have, but what does your off season look like in terms of training? Is it a lot of treatments and physical therapy? But yeah, if you want to talk about what your off season looks like.
Yeah, so now I have a lot of physiotherapies. For example, cryo. It's really good. But I still training almost every day, but everything is light. I have good mobility trainings now, so it's good for me, good for my body. And I starting with running. So almost every week, 2 times. I'm running 3 or 5 kilometers. So it's sometimes hard for me because I still have 102 kilos maybe. So it was good. So it's my off season now. It's about fixing my injuries in my body, go to the physiotherapy, and do it some light trainings.
All right. Now, did you always do a lot of running and cardio in your training, or is this new?
No, it's new. I hate running. Yeah, I like sports. For example, I go play ice hockey. It's no problem for me. I go for judo. It's no problem. I like sports like a cardio, but no running. I hate it. Yeah, but in this time I have not too much opportunities what I can do with my injuries, and running is one of the options. So I go run.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. And I've probably slowed down on running because it's tough on my knees, but I'll try to do a lot of stairmaster, jump rope, elliptical machine, some sprints, depending on the contest. But of course, just jogging on pavement, and I think it's taking the tolls over on my knees. I come from like a grappling wrestling background prior, so we did a lot of running. So that was always really super tough on my knees. And of course, we were talking kind of before we started recording that a lot of it, we want to, of course, encourage a lot of American 105 kilos athletes to go and compete overseas. But why do you think other Americans should come and compete either in the Czech Republic or other places in Europe?
Yes, I think it's a good idea. Maybe next year I will do big competition in Czech Republic, and I have to invite American guys. Yeah, but everything is dependent on money. Yeah, you know it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that in Czech Republic was big competition. Where was the last big competition in Czech Republic? 2 or 3 years ago. So next year will be good time. Do it again. Some great show for American guys. But I don't know who I can invite only 3 or 4 guys for Americans. I don't know who will be the lucky man. So
Yeah, it's true. Well, I would imagine you, of course, hope that I could be on that list. Maybe Johnny Wasisco. He's always a favorite
yes.
traveling internationally, but then we'll through some sort of system, we can always try to invite two more individuals. I think what's tough, and originally when I got invited, Anthony Deal already tore his bicep when he were going to the second Russian show. So unfortunately he was out. And then we went down the list of American Strongest Men. So I took second, but we went down all the list to Johnny because other athletes either couldn't take time off to go travel international, or they didn't have their passport. And it was a quick time around. It takes a long time to get the passport. So that was very difficult. That was tough to finding people that are willing and have time, but also have the passport to go. So it might have to be kind of a big list that we kind of go down. But I think we could potentially put a pretty good team around. Now, if you were host, like, would you host that independently, or would you have that with like Ultimate Strongman going forward?
I think that we go individually, yeah, not in Ultimate Strongman, not in STL, and just do it a great competition, great show, not world championships, but good show for people and for strongmans, maybe for one day, maybe for 2 days. I don't know exactly what will be, but it will be great and big action.
Oh, cool. Well, of course that would be very, very exciting. But Jiri, I would say that's, of course, most of my questions for today. I do, of course, appreciate having you on, and of course, kind of talking about kind of some of your training methodologies and of course your competitions. But I hope that of course we see you at Clash on the Coast, but otherwise maybe I'll see you back overseas, maybe in Russia, in the Czech, or maybe somewhere else.
Yes. Thanks. Yes, I definitely want to be in competition. So this injuries doesn't mean stop for me. I have to find the way how to be healthy and how to be strong, but not normally strong, extremely strong again. So and I'm missing the guys from the strongman sport. So for me, it's not over. I will be back.
Now you're 32, 33.
Yeah, 42.
32. Yeah, so you're still very strong, very young man. This is actually where there's many athletes, even in America. Like for instance, you competed with Darren out in SEL, and he's 43 years old. He's still competing. Johnny's 45. So I'm 32 as well. So we possibly could have another 10 years of competing together. And as of course this
minimum 10 years, maybe better 15.
15, 15. That'd be great. Maybe pull Mark Felix and go into the 50s, right? So of course that would be very exciting. But again, Jiri, thanks for coming on, and of course hope to see you soon.
Yeah, you are welcome, and thanks for inviting.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.